So we're going to answer the question, who is my neighbor? And then Jesus said, your neighbor is the person that's had the life beat out of them. There they are, laying by the side of the road. They're in critical need. They can't do anything for themselves. They're half dead, and if they're left there, they're going to die. And the Lord put upon my heart that He's calling New Life to be a first responder church. God has planted us here, right here in Fair Oaks, Orangevale, and Citrus Heights. And here is what I want to do. God is calling us to respond. This is going to be our byline, responding to the critical needs of our community. We're going to work with city leaders, law enforcement, fire department, EMT, chaplaincy, city council. I have already talked to Chaplain Mindy Russell, who oversees, is the chaplain over the entire Sacramento region. I sat down with her the other day to share this vision on how we want to partner. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that as we go in. But here's what we want to do. At New Life, in Orangevale, Citrus Heights, and Fair Oaks, we want to be poised. We want to be in position. When we hear of a family where critical need has happened, a tragedy has come to their life, we're going to show up and we're going to love on them in the middle of the biggest crisis of their life. How would this work? Let's say I hear about a dad that was tragically killed in the Orangevale area, and he's left behind a wife and 3 kids. Well, we're going to show up in that situation after we find out. And let me explain to you, we're only going to show up to the individuals that have no one to show up for them. If they already have a church, awesome, praise God. We're looking for the individuals laying by the side of the road in a ditch that have no help. We're going to show up at that critical point of need, and we're going to love on them. So imagine this happens, and maybe they need some funds for the funeral. And then maybe we have some of our first responders. We make meals over the course of the next week or so, and we just show up at the front door and give them the meals. Maybe we hand them a prayer blanket, and then we find out there's some needs that they have for the kids, and we love on them and take care of the kids. We show up, we love on them at the point of impact, we back out, and then we let Jesus do what Jesus does. What about maybe we hear from the fire department, an 85-year-old widow, her husband just died, she's got a hole in the roof, things are falling apart, she has no way to take care of it, and if she doesn't, they're going to evict her from the home that she wants to stay in. We hear about it, so we show up with our first responder builders. We say, okay guys, we're going to buy the materials, we're going to go in, we're going to take care of this situation. Maybe some ladies go in and clean her house, maybe we do some front yard work for her, provide some meals, love on her, and then just back out and let Jesus do what Jesus does. Maybe we hear about an individual in a domestic violence situation, and the husband beat the life out of the wife. Maybe she had to go to the hospital. The husband has gone to prison for what he's done, or he's in jail, left behind some kids. So we're going to show up and we're going to love on this family. We're going to provide for them what they need. Maybe we invite them to church and we say, listen, we know you need a little vacation in life. Hey, 3 days down to Disneyland. We're going to love on you guys. Go, come back. We're going to be here for you when you get back. It could be 1,000 different things, but we are going to love our neighbor practically. I am going to look for those that are critically injured, literally, and we're going to be first responders to those situations. Now I realize we can't respond to every need that comes along. Maybe we can only respond to maybe 10 in a year. But listen, what kind of impact does that have on a community when you're showing up for those families at their point of need, loving on them? What can God do? There's something about showing up at that moment that goes a long way for the kingdom. I was reminded that we did this and we have done some of these things in the past. Some of you were here. Do you remember when we heard about the family in our community? Pastor Jeff had actually got online and he saw on the Orangevale Crime Watch, there was a mom that was on there, and she was just heartbroken. Her husband had been working hard. Somebody had stole his wallet of $250. She had nothing for the kids, and she was so mad at the individuals that robbed her husband of his wallet. And so Pastor Jeff told me about this. I said, okay, get a hold of that family and invite them to come to church. And remember, I came to this congregation and I told you what was going on. We didn't tell them anything we were going to do. That Sunday morning, they came in. We partnered with Orangevale Food Bank. You remember this? And they provided all week the meal for them. We partnered with About Kids, and they rolled out shopping carts of toys for the kids. And then we had taken an offering before they got here, and we handed them $1,200 and said, Merry Christmas, you guys. May the love of Jesus be upon you. And we met them at that critical point of need. Now, they don't attend our church, but I can tell you this. Pastor Jeff tells me every now and then he sees her. It's been 2 years. She gets on there, on that crime website, and when something happens, she's on there posting about what this church had done for her 2 years ago. She's still talking about it today. Still talking about how important it was for this to happen in her life. Now, I want you to know that my vision goes beyond New Life. And here's what I'm dreaming about. I believe that once God shows us how to do this, and I don't know how it's all going to come together. It's like Winter Sanctuary. It's a God thing, man. We're just going to jump in and do it. And then we're going to figure it out along the way. Amen. That's Spirit-led. We're not going to be unorganized. We're just going to follow Jesus. But here's what I envision. In talking to Mindy Russell, I said, Mindy, how many critical calls did your team, the sheriff's department, go out on last year to notify people in critical need? She said 4,300. Wow. I said, Mindy, here's what I have a vision for. I know 10 in a year doesn't sound like a lot, but I said, Mindy, if we get this down and we respond to 10, I said, I have a vision that we're going to start to join with other first responder churches. I'm going to go to neighboring churches, and I'm going to walk over to them, and I'm going to say, listen, how would you like to become a first responder church? And I would like to share with them the vision on how they too can bring the Good Samaritan to life. Now, here's what I want you to envision. Imagine if I had 10 other churches in Orangevale, Citrus Heights, and Fair Oaks. If we had 10 churches, imagine if 10 of us could commit to 10 needs a year. That would be 100 right here in our vicinity. What kind of impact would taking care of 100 individuals and their families, how far-reaching is that? But the vision goes beyond that, because I believe that after we're able to network that together, and God shows us how to perfect that in working with one another, I'd like to eventually go to our city pastors network, where over 400 to 500 pastors come together. And maybe somehow, some way, this kind of love could spread to them, because we have such a great thing going on in Sacramento. Can you imagine if we had 200 to 300 churches in our city, that they had all went to their church, they raised the money, they were ready to go, and each one was ready to meet about 10 needs a year? We would take care of 3,000 critical needs in the city. And what kind of impact would that have on a city with people being met at their most critical time? What could Jesus do with that? What could happen? When they walk away from that, they're like the woman at the well, aren't they? They're telling everybody about what took place. Imagine that thousands of times over in the city of Sacramento. It would be amazing. But we're going to start at home, right here. We're committing to taking care of the critical needs that we have right here. Here's something else I want to show you. We already have the First Responder Church logo. We've already put that together. We have already secured the name First Responder, either .org or .com, First Responder Church and First Responder Churches. Here's what we're going to do as the Lord leads us as a congregation to do this. Eventually, we're going to put together a website. And what we're going to do is the people that want to tell their story when they've been touched, we're going to allow them that opportunity. We're going to have menus on this website where they can actually, people can go on and hear about people that were touched by a first responder church. And then we would like to open this up. Maybe it gets beyond the church and people want to donate to this effort so we can go be the hands and feet of Jesus. And then others, like they've done with About Kids, they start to fund this so we can just go out and do what Jesus is calling us to do. And then we'd, on the website, start to put together first responder churches, and that list would grow and grow and grow and grow and grow. And who knows, 5 years from now, the city of Sacramento could be transformed because we are actually going to live out the Good Samaritan story. We're going to actually do what that parable says to do.